You're listening to Business Stories with Ryan Arcaracci, where I speak to business professionals from all walks of life. Thanks for listening, and let's get to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Stories podcast. And one thing I preach to all of my clients and the people I work with is about innovation and innovating their businesses. I think that no matter what kind of business you have or how competitive it is, innovation is really key to growing and expanding and opening new doors. And my guest today is Amy Stockberger, Amy, or Berger?
Burger. Yep.
Berger, Stockberger. She is with a real estate team in South Dakota. Since 2017, her team has been a top producing team, ranking number 52 in the nation. So she's doing some amazing things in real estate. So Amy, I'm excited to, learn about how you got there, what you're doing, all the innovations. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate.
Okay, nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah.
So yes, we're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've been in the business now for 24 years. I've been licensed for 22 years, and I came into it actually right out of college. My dad was a owner of a Coldwell Banker franchise at the time, and he did one of the best things for me ever. He paid me $24,000 a year and told me to work in the back office in a dark, dank office, and really just said, here, learn behind the scenes, and if you like it, then you can take it from there. And it was perfect. It was what I needed to know. I got to kind of feel or learn the back end of how the whole admin side works within our industry, and then just fell in love with the industry itself as far as just serving and getting to help people in really fun times in their life and sometimes really sad times in their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You take a different approach to, we're talking about real estate, and obviously real estate's a competitive industry. But you take a different approach to it, and you really innovated how to help your clients and also generate referrals. What inspired that? And talk about this lifetime home support model you've developed.
Yeah. So when I got into the business, I kept thinking that there has to be a different way to do this. It just seemed to me that it was just so obvious that being there for our clients before and during, and then really not having any follow-up or any other level of service and care after the transaction, which is where a lot of that relationship build is, that there had to be something else that we could do. And I got to a place in my business in about 2014. We were a small team, and we were doing well. We were really systemized. Systems are one of my superpowers. But I was noticing that I wasn't getting the repeat and referral business I should have. I was having clients who were raving that they loved us, but then they would come tell me that their sister bought a house through somebody else because they just moved to town. And it blew my mind. And at that time, I was actually running billboard campaigns to the tune of like $25,000 to $35,000 a year. And the campaign strategy, the only reason I was doing it was not to acquire a new client, but was to remind the people who knew, like, and trusted me to refer and use me again. It was just there for keeping those clients. And, big shocker here, guess what? Those billboards didn't work. It wasn't serving them. It wasn't taking care of the client. So I knew I needed to change the way I was doing my business. And I took, major extreme ownership and looked at it and said, okay, what am I doing that's different from anybody else in my market? And all I could come up with was that I was the expert at connecting buyers and sellers. I could get highest dollar, shortest amount of time, least amount of hassle. I could help them find a house that matches their budget and their parameters. But guess what? That is my actual job description.
Yeah.
That is table stakes. That is what we should do. That's the expectation. And I liken it to an attorney advertising like, hey, I passed the bar. You should use me. Like, that's not anything else above and beyond. And so I decided I wanted to really up my client experience. And so I created a VIP club that our clients get access to when they buy or sell with us one time, and they get access to it for life. And it's nothing revolutionary, but I bought a moving truck. And I said, okay, I'm going to have this moving truck where my clients can use it for life. But I wanted to take, success leaves clues, right? I wanted to take some of the clues that all these big companies were using and implement them into my real estate business, which was I wanted to be able to take all my cost centers, or as many of my cost centers and as many of my expenses, and turn them into a profit center, have somebody else pay for them. So like with my trucks right away, I started selling ad space on them. So by the time my truck actually arrived, my truck was making me money. So it was a billboard on wheels. It was taking care of my clients for life. I was making money on it. And it was a really good, it still is, we have multiple trucks now, a really good community give back. And as entrepreneurs, you should be giving back to the place that you do business.
Right.
But on top of that, it was a high level of lead generation too, because it's very much a brand awareness piece. Our name was all over it. And so we added that and our party and tool supply and an online discount center really all at the same time to really make sure that we were authentically taking care of our clients before, during, and forever, and helping them with their wants, needs, and desires before ours. And that's what, was missing really in everywhere in the industry, is that there wasn't really anything out there that I could find that I could duplicate or buy a course or to take a program or a business model to put in that was actually authentically doing that. And you can tell, like, when people are authentic and they're actually putting your needs before yours, like, it feels good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something that's like it's an energy about it, and it also automatically enacts the law of reciprocity. So when
Mhm.
humans get something, the law of reciprocity comes in. They feel compelled to give back in kind. And
Right.
what I found happen right away is that we're giving back all the time to them, letting them use all of these services for all their human journey, stages, not just their home ownership stages, that they're coming back to us getting things, and they were repaying us in the form of repeat and referral business on steroids. We basically took a system and put our clients as our biggest advertising source just by word of mouth.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And you talk about this philosophy called serve, 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 sell, which
Right.
I think is sort of identifies your culture, right? So
Right.
I want to ask you, how do you apply that and how can others apply it to their business? Obviously, not everybody listening is in real estate necessarily, but I think this could be applied anywhere. So tell
Right.
us a little bit about that philosophy, how you apply it, and how others can apply it.
Yeah, I really think, my vision is to change the real estate industry into a tribe of servepreneurs, not entrepreneurs, who are elevating that client experience before, during, and forever, thereby helping them create businesses they love. Because when's the last time you served somebody, you did something for somebody and you felt terrible?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. We're
Right.
wired to feel good when we serve,
Yeah.
and that way they can also build a big book of business, so that they can turn around and sell for major profit too. But that authentic serving. So back in 2014, one of the turning points for me too is I read the book The Go Giver,
Hmm.
and it's a great book, great book. And it's the whole underlying philosophy is that if you authentically serve other people's wants, needs, and desires, that the sales will naturally follow.
Hmm.
And so we did that with every part of our business, and that's our whole, our whole business model is lifetime home support and building juicy legacies for our clients, our team, and our community, using all of our serve, sell approaches, so that we're constantly there at every stage of their home ownership and human journey. When they need something, they know that we're their advisor. We're not just their real estate agent. We're advising and serving to their needs first. And when you think about it, we do the same thing with our agents too, because I did it so wrong. I always say I have a PhD in failing forward from the University of the Entrepreneur College.
Yeah.
And so I found out all the ways not to do things so that I could figure out how to do it right and then systemize it. But when I started growing my team, that's what I say. And we continue to say that I don't want you to have to do it the hard way. I want you to be able to skip levels. But we do that with a service first attitude on it. Like, how can I help you get to what you need for all of us to scale and be and work at a higher level together? And it's
Hmm.
really the ethos of everything we do
Yeah.
in my business. And that's how we're able to stay. We've been the top team since 2017. We're small giants in my market. We have about 20 agents, and we do about 10% of our market share.
Wow. So do you have any specific examples of this you can share with like a
Yeah.
client story or something that can really help people understand how to approach, this service or this serve model in a way?
Yeah, so it lives everywhere within our business and every type of marketing campaign, onboarding strategy, anything like that. But so here's an example of our party supplies. So again, we as humans have all these events that happen in our lives,
Hmm.
birthdays, celebrations, reunions,
Yep.
graduations. So in my party supply, I have bouncy houses, commercial grade food warmers, cotton candy, snow cone, popcorn machines, tables and chairs that they can come get for free for life by simply buying or selling with us. So they come and get these. They have all their friends around, and they're getting all these free items from us, which then enacts that law of reciprocity. But I just had a past client just this year that And actually, I'll tell you this too. We actually had our biggest year, one of our months in May. We had 800 pieces of equipment that were checked out by our clients. That month alone, we had over 50 sphere referrals come in from our
Wow.
clients. So again, it's that law of reciprocity that's happening.
Yeah.
But I had a past client who I've sold them a handful of houses. They referred just a ton of business to us, but she was coming in to return some stuff on a Monday, and she had just told me, and I knew this was happening, but her husband, who had been suffering, fighting cancer, had just gotten the green light on that like the week before, that he was in remission. So they came and literally rented out every piece of my equipment to throw this giant party.
Hmm.
They're celebrating like it's this major part of their life, and we were
Yeah.
able to be a part of that, saving them tons of money on the equipment. We have margarita machines, we have all these different things that they're able to use to celebrate big parts of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is great. I mean, I think it's really important, and it's a really interesting way to generate referrals in a community effort.
Mm-hmm.
How how can other business owners approach this to generate leads as well? I mean, I feel like this culture can be applicable everywhere.
Oh my gosh,
So
yes.
talk to us about, like, when we talk about entrepreneurship, growing a brand and a business, how can you apply this in your marketing and sales efforts? I hate saying sales efforts, but that's really what it is. So how do you recommend that?
Well, I think that entrepreneurs first have to be very clear on what their core and their vision is. I think especially right now, we're taping this, in December, beginning of December. So in
Yeah.
planning out like your 2025 goals, you have to understand like what is your point of difference from your competitors. And
Hmm.
we live in a world now where we have a lot of AI, where you
Hmm.
can easily, type these things in and say like, what is my point of difference? What is
Yeah.
my unique value proposition that I can add in? And knowing that if you serve first authentically, their wants, needs, and desires, the sales will naturally follow. But what can you add in to elevate their client experience? And that's really what our world is about. Everything is so automated. Everything is we're humans who are they we everything's right now. We need that's just the way our brains are. We want something
Right.
right now and we need this. That's just the way the world is. And being able to take an up the client experience is going to make them your raving fans. It's going to make them that word of mouth, because every business, I would say most service businesses, their biggest lead source is always going to be their sphere,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And so why would you not have one pillar of your business where you are really going all in, 10xing your efforts to take care of your sphere, the people who you know are going to help you leverage your business the most?
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and and sometimes that's in having to do that as entrepreneurs. And like what a great position we have in America to be
Right.
able to build these businesses like this and to do this and have the ability to fail forward over and over again and pick up and pivot and find new ways to scale. But finding those skill sets, I think that's another thing too that I feel is an entrepreneur needs to have, is that they need to know, first of all, I have a coach who says this to me all the time, like, what are you pretending not to know? A lot
Hmm.
of times we know what we need to do, but you just have to find that skill set and go learn it so that you can add in those extra levels of service. And you can look at other industries and pull from that. Like I remember doing that when I was building this, my lifetime home support model. I was looking at all these different industries and saying, okay, what could I take from this industry to pull into mine that nobody else is doing?
Hmm.
Where is my point of difference that I can really leverage that and scale quick?
Yeah. And it's amazing that you can do that so easily. And sometimes it's just a small thing. It's just a small thing
Right.
you could do. It might just be, sending out a thank you card or a gift box or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, a lot of entrepreneurs get so focused on the results and the money that they forget about the empathetic approach and
Right.
understanding that they're working with human beings. So how do you, I mean, you've put together a really solid, successful team.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the training behind that, the mentorship. How do you approach building a real successful team? And what have you learned through that? I'm sure there were challenges and ups and downs through
Oh
that
my
too, but
goodness.
talk about that structure.
Right. I was going to say quick before I jump to that,
Yeah.
for entrepreneurs as well, they need to be looking at like, what is the lifetime value of their clients? Like
Hmm.
they need to know what that number is. And then thinking, because we know that it costs more money to acquire a new client than it is to keep an old one. And I think the
Right.
stat is somewhere like 5 to 10% more to get a new client than it is to keep existing. But I think once you keep it, the amount of profit that is there by doing that, by serving first, is like over 50%. I think there's even a number that I've read that's like close to 90% additional profit by doing that. So I think entrepreneurs need to be really understanding, because that's one thing I was looking at. I'm like, what is the lifetime value of our clients? Like, if one client, if they're going to transact 5 times during my career, what is that number?
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen if I continued to make one client into 5 clients? And how would that affect my team? So to go back to your question, and yeah, I mean, again, the PhD in failing forward, not knowing what I didn't know, and building my team, was that. But I knew one thing always, is that I wanted them to be able to get there faster and easier than I did.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them to be able to skip major levels. So we systemized the heck out of it. And that's one thing I tell agents all the time, like, you need to make your business SAD. You need to systemize it, automate it, delegate, or delete parts of it. And so that's really what we did, is we systemized as much as we possibly could, so that, and to the point, actually, when I say checklist in my office, they say drink, because I say checklist so much. Like, I have so many checklists that I had an EA one time who actually came to me from working at our local hospital here, one of our big hospitals. And she was in an EA, an executive assistant for somebody higher up in the leadership.
Yeah.
She's like, you do know that you have more checklists in this company than the hospital does in their admin over there. I'm like, I believe that, because that's one thing that has allowed us to scale, is by having those systemized approaches where we have repeatable excellence all the time, so that my agents are able to do more what they're good at. They're good at taking care of clients.
Yeah.
Oftentimes salespeople, they're not really great at paperwork. They're not really great at those things behind them. So I took that off their plate. I took those things off where I could help them enjoy that financial and time freedom and build a business that they like, but not doing the stuff that really burnt them out. Having that audit of, okay, what is lighting me up and what is really just dragging me down, and then finding a way for us to have that pain point, because any good business should be trying to solve a solution for a problem, right?
Right.
And that's what we're continually trying to do, is how do we systemize even higher levels to make sure that we're letting our agents do what they love to do best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which to us, it's all part of our core, is serving the client. If we have people who don't match that core value, they're not in our team. It's just the way it works.
Right. What do you think, if we look at the future of real estate? I think with technology, it's evolving. I know that, I was in real estate a long time ago, like 2009. And now with AI, with everything going on in the world, I think the buyer experience has changed and the buyer expectations have changed. What are you seeing if we look at the future of real estate? It almost seems like the transactions are happening faster. That's more accessible to sell and turn your house over. Where do you see that going? And do you feel like we're going to be eliminating the human element to it, and there's going to be more automation in the future?
I think there was worry about that, like back when the portals got into the business, that was like the big thing, that's going to eliminate the real estate agent. But I just don't, I feel like it was even major research was done on this in the last 2 years. Like over 90% of consumers still want an agent involved, because it's a big deal. It's one of their biggest, I think it's like 78% of Americans, their biggest asset and wealth building asset is their home.
Right.
And so same with like Rocket Lawyer. I use Rocket Lawyer for small things, but for things that are maybe like $250 worth type of thing. But if I was going to have a lawsuit that was $250,000, I'm not calling Rocket Lawyer. I'm not getting on Rocket Lawyer to do it. I'm going to have somebody who has the expertise, the knowledge, the inside knowledge of all the trends. That's what's happening. So I don't think that the human element is going to be taken away. I think that what's going to happen, though, is we'll see less and less. Like right now, there's like 1.5 million real estate agents in America.
Right.
That's a big number. And our industry's had a kind of a weird year, with the NAR settlement and things like that. And I feel like one of the main causes of that is that the perceived lack of value. Mm-hmm. That the consumers had that perceived lack of value, that we're going to see those numbers go down as far as agents and or the transactions for the majority of those, because the average agent sold one house, I think it was last year, is what the report said. But we're going to see the ones who are adding in massive value are going to be the advisors. It's going to be just like a financial advisor, where there's going to be the people who are with them for life. It's going to be a book of business that they always are going back to them, if agents are setting it up correctly and serving clients before, during, and forever as that. But I don't think that AI is fabulous. Like everybody loves AI, but even in any aspect, I don't think AI is 100% going to get rid of the human element that we as humans crave, that connection.
Yeah. I still think people love to interact and buy from people. I
Oh,
think especially after COVID when we had so much separation, I've noticed people are just more social, it seems, after that, even strangers. So, and that's, I mean, that's embedded in us. So that's, I think that's important. I want to ask
I
you too,
agree.
from someone like you, I always like to ask, what do you do in your life to fuel your success personally, spiritually, whatever it is? Like, what do you think helps you stay at the top of your game in your life?
Uh, I'm a forever student,
Yeah.
a forever student. I listen to two podcasts every day.
Yeah.
I have coaching, handful of coaches personally that I lean into to continue learning. Big on any type of book I can listen to too, just to try to acquire new skills.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what this whole thing is acquiring new skills to help me
Yep.
get to that next level, and knowing that I don't have I'm not equipped with everything I need to get to where I need to go next. That I
Yeah.
need to continually do that to get to that next level.
Yeah. So podcast, books, things like that,
Yep.
coaching. And are
Yep.
you using like a business coach? Are you seeing them like
Yep.
what once a week or something? Or
Yeah, I have a business coach, I have a speaking coach, I have a real estate coach. Yeah, so I just the things that people can help me with that again, who are far ahead of me, and being in
yeah,
those rooms where I'm the smallest person in the room. Like those are the sexiest rooms in the whole world for me. When
yeah,
I had an experience to this last June to go to Canada and be in rooms where there was these people making $1 million monthly.
mm-hmm,
Like those are rooms I want to be in and see how they've done that with their business,
mm-hmm,
and understand like that's all obtainable. I just have to find a new skill set. I have to learn a new skill set to get to that.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
fun. Like we get to play business. I always tell my husband that he's my partner in a lot of my businesses. Like we get to play business every day. It's like putting
yeah,
together a puzzle that we get to do that we're in control of for the most part,
yeah,
and decide which way it's going to go.
yeah. So as we wrap this up and people are putting this all together, we talk about, that the serving method. What are some pieces of advice we could just wrap this up with for people that are listening, not necessarily in real estate, but any business really, whether you're a consultant, realtor, maybe you're just a home service person, right? What are some tidbits you can share as we kind of wrap this up on how to really approach this in their business?
Yeah, so to have the servepreneur mindset, the serve, then sell mindset, you really have to be looking at all areas of your business, whether it's your sales, your marketing, your processes, or the systems, on where can you add that additional value. And it all starts with knowing your core and your vision of what you're going to do. And if your audience actually, if they want to go out and follow me on Instagram
Yeah.
at Amy Stockberger, and it's Berger Stockberger, want to follow me, and if they go ahead and DM me. Let's see, I'll give them out my core value worksheet that helps them identify what their core values are. And if they just send me core value, I'll send it over to them and they can just look at no sign and anything like that. They can use that to try to identify, especially right now. Again, we're at the beginning or the end of the year, the beginning of the new year is coming. Like right now, you need to be figuring out what can I do to make myself different in a service first way so that I can take care of people better, and
Hmm.
know when you do that, the sales will naturally follow.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to ask you too, because I've taken that approach a little bit, and sometimes it means doing something for free. And I've done that. I've put in an extra effort to do something for free, and I want to ask you your opinion on that. Do you feel like there can be a borderline between going out of your way too much and not getting anything back, or is it good to do a little bit for free or a little bit of something to start to build that relationship? I mean, what are your
Oh
thoughts
gosh.
on that from an entrepreneurial
Yeah,
perspective?
I think you have to do that. We're big on our client events, even like just to
Yeah.
speak to that. We have, this is my 19th year doing my turkey giveaway with my Santa Claus comes. We had over 1,000 people in our building, close to 400 or 500, some turkeys were given away.
Yeah.
But doing that and again, giving to them and the amount of appreciation that comes from that, first of all, it feels good. It feels
Yeah.
great. It feels great when
Yeah.
you serve and you do that. But
Right.
it's tenfold. I had one of my agents who had 5 different appointments that arrived just from that event that
Wow.
he was able to set because of that service first mentality. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel it's a 10xing on that. And I honestly, if you're an entrepreneur in your community, you should have different organizations that you're giving to, that you're being a part of, and there for the right reason. But also remember, you're an entrepreneur, that you need to, I think sometimes when people do that, they forget to say, here, what is my value story? What's my
Hmm.
30-second value story? Not my 30-second pitch, but everybody needs to know what it is you do.
Hmm.
There isn't anybody in my life in this town who doesn't know that we own a real estate brokerage and that we offer
Right.
lifetime home support, because it's in every value story that we talk about,
Yeah.
regardless of who it is.
Well, this has been great. If people are listening and they want to get involved with what you're doing, whether it's the real estate side or whatever else you're doing. How can they best? You did bring up your Instagram, but what else can they? How else can they
Yep.
reach you?
Yeah, so you can go out to lifetimehomesupport.com. I have all my proven lifetime lead strategies out there on how I'm helping agents across the nation scale their business using repeat and referral as their main pillar in their business, and also showing them how to add additional revenue streams outside of commissions. We also have a vendor program that me personally, I have 100 vendors in there. They pay us $3,500 a year. Those vendors take care of our clients. We monetized it heavily, but we use it for a major lead generation too. So happy to go out and show them how they can do the same thing.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Amy. It's been a great conversation. I wish you the best and happy holidays too.
Yep, happy holidays. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Thanks. Hey, this is Ryan with the Business Stories Podcast. And if you're a franchisor, franchise consultant, broker, or just a small business owner, you've got to check out clienttether.com. It's an amazing sales automation tool that is revolutionizing the industry. If you want to learn more, go to clienttether.com and inquire within.